One question I get asked a lot is, how do I get my loops locked in time? So this morning, I am off to see my drummer mate, Andrew Rooney, to get his best tips and techniques for getting things really in the pocket, locking them nice and tight in time. Let's see what he has to say. Hey everybody, I wanted to sit down with this guy, Andrew Rooney, because obviously we talked a lot about getting loops in time and I get a lot of requests about it. So I thought it would be pretty cool to sit down with a drummer and get their perspective. And Andrew's been a drummer full-time in Auckland since 2006 or thereabouts, playing in various bands, teaching. He's written some articles for Modern Drummer magazine. He has runs the New Zealand Drummer podcast.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, okay, good. And so there's a lot of experience and knowledge from your own experiences.
Pressure's on now.
But also, absolutely, yeah, it's gonna be great, okay? But also, like, you have I think, a really cool insight, having chatted, especially with all the conversations you've had on the New Zealand Drummer podcast.
Yes.
With so many amazing drummers as well.
Yeah, which I'm not afraid to borrow and steal from.
Yeah, no. So we're going to share their ideas today rather than ours.
Anything doesn't work, it's not my fault.
Love it. So welcome to, I guess, a drummer's tips on locking your looping in time.
Who would have thought? I would perhaps, can I back up a little bit?
Totally.
Can I preface this? And I know a lot of your audience, they're not in New Zealand, right?
Sure.
So
yep.
This could apply to wherever your hometown is. Think of like the best guitarist in your hometown. And for me, I'm gonna go with Dixon Nacey.
Sure.
I'm not going to use you because that would be completely self-indulgent for us to. Man, you're the greatest. But let's just say Dixon, he's the king of our scene, right? I don't think many people would disagree. And then you could think, that's cool, but why is he so good? And then you could think, okay, does he have a really cool amp? You could plug in. Yeah. Game over. Well, you could plug into his amp. You'll still sound like Dave Shannon.
Yeah.
Does he have a gold-plated cable that makes him play amazing? It's not really affecting it. Is he fast? You know, speed. Hey, we all love speed. So if I get really fast, if I can play as fast as Dixon, is that it? Am I as good as Dixon?
Probably not.
Nah, probably not. So, and you could keep going on all these points, and you're not even going to get close.
Sure.
If you put them all together, you might start to get some kind of formula going, but basically, I think what you can put this down to is headroom. It's a term we use in drums a lot, is headroom. Your ability and how much room you've got to stretch within that ability.
Nice.
So I think a lot of other instruments forget about the timing and rhythm aspect. Someone like Dixon hasn't forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And in fact, really focused on it.
Yeah.
So that's given him enormous headroom. Not only within specific songs, but instrument in general, which he can apply to any song. So he sounds like he's got huge headroom in any song he plays, because he's got huge headroom on the instrument.
Sure.
Anyway, sorry, I just thought, it's good to think of whoever's like the king of your scene. Why though?
It's super interesting bringing this up, because I would say Ed Sheeran arguably is probably the most well-known looping artist, at least.
Sure.
But looking at some of his stuff, and I've been really curious, I'm like, okay, there's some talk that maybe has a click track lead in from engineer and things like that. But it's the one thing that gets me with him, starting the likes of Bloodstream, little finger picking pattern. It's locked in so tight, and it literally, he starts the loop straight in.
And it's boom.
And it's on, it has to be. And this is where I think it's fascinating because I'm like, if that first loop is out,
Yes.
it maybe by the third time you play it, you're locked in time. But if the first one is out, that's your whole song now.
Yeah. So that's like jumping on the train from a cold start. You know, like the train's moving and you're just like, boom.
Yeah.
Almost impossible. So like one thing I learned at music school was you need to be playing before you play. Always. So I would never just sit there like the song's starting, someone counts it off, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then start playing. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, play. I was already playing.
Yeah, sure.
So that's one huge thing, play before you play. That could be tapping your foot, counting in your head, whatever resonates with you, however you've been trained, that's going to sort of come out and make more sense on that one. Play before you play is massive. I would definitely, coming back to sort of the Dixon-Nacy example, is I would think of time in different ways. There's metronomic time, where you're hitting like metronome points or count-ins, you know. Now that is basically how everyone thinks of time. If I start and end on the click, I'm in time.
Yeah, okay.
That's not how it works. Because, sure, there were 4 clicks and you managed to land somewhere close to the one where you wanted to start. But there's also subdivision time. So 16th notes, 8th notes,
Sure.
whatever your guitar rhythm is, the riff or the strumming pattern. So I would start thinking in terms of not only am I hitting the click points or the count-in that I want, but am I hitting the subdivision points?
Nice.
So if, let's say the rhythm was 1, 2, and 3, and 4. That was your strum rhythm.
Yep, sure.
Jump, 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 jump. I don't know. Might not be a good example.
No, that's great.
Who knows? Now, you could think of, okay, let's put the click, let's practice that. Let's put the click on 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, and 4. Cool? But you can also put the click not on the 1, 2, 3, 4. You could put it on the ands.
Nice.
Now you're working on your subdivision.
I instantly know that will mess me up straight away.
Try it. Let's make this really practical for anyone watching at home. Put a metronome on. Hopefully everyone's got a metronome. I don't know.
There's actually, to be fair, there's a metronome online. So if you literally Google online metronome, you can find one. So
try this. I'm not trying to embarrass anyone. You know, like just try it. I completely failed at this when I first tried to do it. Take a song or a groove you know inside out.
Sure.
Start easy.
Yeah,
Something
nice.
that you feel like you're pretty good at. You got under the thumb, and then put the metronome on and just do your ba 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 ba, whatever the rhythm is. Now put the click so it's on the ands. Probably might be easier to demonstrate this with an external click source like my phone, but I'm wary of untangling this.
Do you want me to be a temporary metronome?
Okay, so if you can give me let's do the downbeats first.
Sure.
So if you can give me a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
1, 2, and 3, and 4. Give yourself a rest. 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. One more. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I'm sure most of your... Hey.
Are we going to...
No, let's leave it. Let's leave it there. So I'm pretty confident. I mean, I'm assuming a lot of the people who watch your channel are pretty decent.
Yeah.
They'll be pretty decent on guitar. I don't think that would be a huge challenge for them. And they're probably used to playing with a metronome.
Totally.
When you do that, if Dave's clicks are not the 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're now the and of those numbers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so if you give us a click, so just give us, let's start with, this is even hard, right?
Yeah, well,
Of this.
I think the funny thing is if I just start in my head thinking and, I think most people will still hear it as the 1.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So even if I'm going and 3, if I don't say
Yep.
anything, I think naturally when someone hears this, they'll be like
Yeah. It's hard.
hearing those as the
Yeah.
ones.
So if I can get us rolling, and 2 and 3 and 4
Sure.
and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3
You too.
and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Game changer.
Quickly cutting into this video, I've been doing this for about 2 weeks and it has made a massive change. Game changer. Massive change in my rhythm and vibe. I realized I played basically with a limp, but I had to start off and really count out. It was really difficult for the first couple of days doing this, and I practiced quite a lot to get and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And what I ended up doing was just to start with counting that and then getting my foot to be on the ones tapping on the ground. So and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 4 and 1 2 3 4. That that alone took quite a while. So practice, get into it. It will literally crazily improve and change your rhythm. And then back to the video.
Game changer. Now, it's not, I'm not going to lie, it's not the most fun exercise. No one likes being shown up as being able to not do something. I was even nervous doing that example, I might stuff this up.
Sure.
The key thing here is you're getting inside the song.
Nice.
You're getting inside the rhythm and you're starting to find, I practice heaps, why don't I, what has Dixon got that I don't? It's this stuff.
Cool.
He's inside the rhythm. He's not getting thrown off by stuff, and he's not rushing eighth notes or 16th notes. They're even. Because he's not only thinking 1, 2, like a bullseye, because you start aiming for those downbeats. I've done this in the studio. So, get the click, cool, click, 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 and then it becomes target practice, hitting clicks. You can, this took me so long to get. You can hit those clicks or be pretty close to them and sound awful.
Right.
Because it, like I say, ends up being target practice. And remember, there's space in between these clicks. The click's only, how do you visualize the amount of time of a click? It's this amount, but then we've got all the space. So you might have hit that. What about all that? That could be a complete mess.
And I think the example of this, for me, taking it a little bit further, is there's always some push and pull. And there's a point where that push and pull is like, we're like very far. And so the flip side of that as well is if we just had 1 as our click, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, then that kind of as well for me accentuates like, well, there's our target and that's on every time. But do we get to 3 and we're kind of like, being a bit quick to get there?
That's when you start getting into that thing of holding your breath and slightly nervous and, I got that one. I missed that one. It was a bit ahead, bit behind. Like, I totally get that gap click thing you're talking about. We call that a gap click in drumming. I don't know what you call it. But for me...
Terrifying.
It's terrifying, man. And I'm not also saying you need to be metronomic. The whole reason people enjoy a live performance is it's human, right? But what I am talking about is headroom within that. To rein it in and control it. Nothing sounds better than a guitarist with good rhythm. It's really stunning. When you play with a guitarist with good rhythm, they'll start a song off and you're like, I'm just floating on a cloud here.
Cool.
I can just, I count myself into my part and boom, we're away. I joined in. He didn't shift his tempo. He didn't reset his tempo to me. Like, it's magic.
Cool.
And then what happens? Everyone's up on the dance floor. People are smiling. Grandma, who hasn't danced for 20 years, is up there shaking her groove thing. So I just think it's hugely underestimated. I think, without pissing off all your audience, I think guitarists are pretty guilty of it, of rhythm stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all know the old joke, how do you get a guitarist to stop playing? You put the music up in front of him. Hey,
Gee.
but
You turn the metronome on.
yeah. Put the metronome on the end. It's just a huge thing, and you know, we're all responsible for the time. It's not like the dumb drummers over there just going boom, clack, boom, boom, clack.
Sure, yeah.
And you can just do whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you're still responsible for your own subdivision and your own concept of time.
I'm going to wrap this up as part 1 of 2 because there was just so much gold that Andrew shared. I thought I'd break it up into 2 sections, 2 bite-sized chunks. So go away and practice that offbeat with the metronome. It is super, super valuable and you'll get a lot from it. And somewhere on the screen is going to appear part 2 where we talk about tempo, how to deal with issues, playing before you play, and a little bit about coordination and visualization. There's a lot of gold in it, so if you're happy to carry on, there's a link somewhere here. And if not, if that's like enough to digest for today, then go and test out and put in the practice now of using that metronome idea. I think, as I did, you will find it very valuable.